Hello, my name is Crystal Diesel and I am a counselor in the Career Development Office. Welcome to Webcast Wednesday. This is the first of 6 videos CDO will release this summer to help you find a job. Today's webcast is titled Preparing for the Fall Job Search Process. Our roadmap for today is we'll identify the key factors that will inform the type of job search that you'll engage in. Second, we will discuss the importance of networking, aka meeting people. Third, we'll talk about how to research and identify employers. Third, we'll talk about your application documents. And finally, last thoughts and a wrap up. So let's get started. Step 1, key factors. Geography. Think about where in the country you want to begin your career. CDO recommends that you focus on 3 to 4 distinct areas. This will allow you to do an in-depth search and essentially leave no stone unturned in a specific geographic region. The second thing you should think about is employer type. What type of employer do you want to work for? Examine your passions, your temperament, your work style and ethic, background, and skills. The following are the most common legal types students will examine. First, private practice, typically done in law firms, both small, mid-sized, and large. Second is government work, federal, state, and local. The third is public sector, which we usually call nonprofit. And fourth, judicial clerkship, working for a judge. While these are just 4 of different types, there are others that you may examine at a later time. You will conduct a different job search for each of the 4 types, so it is necessary to know what type of employer you want to work for. Next, you should think about practice specialty. It is okay to be undecided at this time, but it's also going to be important to gather as much information about specialties because at some point in your search, you'll need to identify the type of employer that you'll want to work for. Second, we're going to talk a little bit today about networking. Network exactly where you are. Make it a point to meet attorneys in the place where you work over the summer. Set up coffee or lunch meetings to learn more about what they do on a day-to-day basis and how they may have arrived at their particular career. Meet attorneys outside of your current employer to learn about different practice specialties and jobs that are available. 2 words, due diligence. Learn as much as you can about the type of employer and the city of your choice. Doing this homework now will assist you in interviews in the fall and will also help you find the right employer for you. Now we'll talk a little bit about researching and identifying employers. Use the month of June to identify employers that you may want to apply for during the fall recruiting process. I'm going to list websites in the upcoming section. All of them will be available on the CDO blog, so don't fret if you miss a website that I mentioned. The most common employers are the private sector employer law firms. They're often referred to as NALP firms, called National Association of Law Placement. Those are large law firms. Those employers are typically the type that are going to be represented in the on-campus recruiting program. You can apply directly to firms that are not coming on campus by using nalpdirectory.com. It'll be available on the blog as well. Mid-size and law firms, you can look at Martindale Directory, martindale.com. You can also use Chamber Associates, which gives you in-depth information about a particular practice specialty and the law firms and the attorneys that do that type of work. That website is chambersassociates.com. Next, if you're thinking about government employment, particularly federal government, they hire out of what are called honors programs. Their entry-level attorneys will typically go through an honors programs, and those applications will usually be due in the early fall. The Arizona Guide to Government Honors and Internships is your best bet on finding the honor program that is going to be right for you. Again, that website will be available on the CDO blog. The second one is usajobs.gov. If you're looking for state or local government, including prosecutorial and defense offices, use www.statelocalgov.net. For public interest employers, nonprofit, clearinghouse for public interest employers, and fellowships around the countries. Deadlines are typically in the early fall. Again, you can use pslawnet.org or equaljusticeworks.com. But don't forget, there are a number of job fairs and diversity fairs that will take place nationwide. Continue to look at our Career Connections website weekly and our newsletter for nationwide dates and deadlines. And finally, if you're considering a judicial clerkship, and that's for third years only, for federal clerkships, you'll be using OSCAR, which stands for Online System for Clerkship Application and Review. If you're looking for state clerkships, you'll be looking in the Vermont State Judicial Clerkship Guide. In the Career Development Office, we also have judicial lists for Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey, as well as state directories to help you identify the local and state clerkships for applications. Now that we've talked a little bit about the key factors to identify, networking, and researching and identifying employers, let's talk a little bit about your application documents. It's important to conduct your research during the month of July and to identify the employers, as well as to finalize, revise, and get all of your application materials together. The things that you'll need are a resume, which must be error-free. You will need a cover letter that is well written, that addresses the skills and why you're interested in that particular employer. You'll need a transcript, which is essentially a photocopy of your unofficial transcript, unless the employer asks for something different. The fourth thing will be your writing sample. It should be well written and 5 to 10 pages. You'll also need a reference list for job applications, including professors as well as work references. And finally, if you are a third or fourth year student, you'll need letter of recommendations if you're applying to federal clerkships, or if an employer asks you for them. CDO has already asked that you upload your resume to Simplicity. If you haven't already done so and would still like a counselor to review it, please take a moment to review the Career Connection that went out on April 21st, because there's important information on there on how to upload your materials to Simplicity. Now that we've covered all of our topics for today, here are a couple of things to remember, aka the last thoughts. Start broad and narrow as you go along. Run your job searches concurrently. If you are interested in private sector work as well as judicial clerkships, you'll need to be doing those job searches at the same time. Always, always, always check the Jobs tab in Simplicity, as employers contact our office regularly to post positions for open opportunities, and they want to hear from Widener students. Fourth, use your summer wisely. May and June are an excellent time to remind yourself of why you chose law school and what shape you want your career to take. Securing a summer job or full-time employment takes work and planning, and this summer is the best time to start preparing. That's all I have for you today, folks, for this webcast. The next webcast will be online and available to you May 25th. We will discuss how to make outreach to on-campus interviewing employees. Goodbye, and get started.